The Lonely Alien Girl. The space station was always busy. Humans, aliens, robots, they all walked fast, talked loud, and never looked back. But in the corner of the station's food hall, one girl sat alone every day. Her name was Zira. Zira was not like the others. Her skin was light blue with soft, glowing marks. Her eyes were large, gentle, and full of sadness. She didn't speak much. She just sat and ate quietly, always alone. People whispered about her. "That's the cursed one," someone said. "Don't go near her," another warned. "Bad things happen if you touch her." No one knew where Zira came from. They only knew she was poor, alone, and different. Most people just ignored her. Some even laughed when they saw her walk past. But Jason, a young human technician, noticed something strange. Jason wasn't like other humans. He liked to fix broken things, even if no one asked him to. He had a kind heart and a quiet mind. One day, while eating lunch, he saw a group of alien students throw a tray of food at Zira. She didn't fight back. She just picked up her broken plate, sat down again, and started eating what was left. Jason felt something in his chest, a mix of anger and sadness. He walked over to her table. "Hey," he said, "are you okay?" Zira looked up. Her glowing eyes blinked slowly. She didn't speak at first. "I'm fine," she said in a soft voice. "You don't look fine," Jason replied. "Can I sit?" She paused, then gave a small nod. For the next 10 minutes, they sat in silence. Jason didn't try to force a conversation. He just ate his sandwich and stayed beside her. It was the first time anyone had done that. The next day, Jason saw her again. This time, she was sitting without food. He brought an extra tray and placed it in front of her. "I thought you might be hungry," he said. Zira looked at the food, then at him. Her hands trembled as she picked up the spoon. "No one has ever done this for me," she whispered. Jason smiled. "Well, now someone has." They started talking more. Zira still spoke slowly, carefully, like each word was a secret. But Jason listened. He didn't laugh when she told him about her planet, which was destroyed in a war. He didn't run away when she said she was the last of her kind. One evening, as they walked near the observation window, Jason asked her a question. "Why do people think you're cursed?" Zira stopped walking. Her face turned pale. "Because they're afraid," she said. "My people were strong, powerful, but we lost everything. The survivors believed my bloodline was dangerous. They said, 'Whoever bonds with me will suffer.'" Jason frowned. "That sounds like a lie." Zira looked at him, her voice shaking. "It's not a lie, Jason. Something happened before. Someone tried to be close to me, and they died." Jason stayed quiet. He didn't know what to say, but he didn't move away. Later that night, he had a strange dream. He saw a young alien girl running through fire. Soldiers chased her. A tall man tried to protect her, but he was struck down. Zira screamed, and then everything turned white. Jason woke up sweating. His heart was beating fast. "How did I see that?" he whispered. The next morning, he found Zira sitting in the same spot. "I saw something last night," he said. Zira looked scared. "What did you see?" "A dream. You, running, fire, a man protecting you." Zira's hands gripped the table. "That was real," she said. "You saw my memory." Jason stared at her. "But how?" Zira looked away. "Because you touched me, my skin. Even a simple touch can connect minds. That's why they fear me." Jason leaned in. "But I'm not afraid." She looked at him with wide eyes. "You should be." At that moment, the floor beneath them shook slightly. A soft hum echoed through the hall. Jason felt something move inside his mind, like a whisper. "She is not what you think," the voice said. Jason stood up quickly. "Did you hear that?" Zira's eyes were full of fear. "It has started," she whispered. You shouldn't have come near me." But Jason didn't run. He reached out and gently took her hand. "I'm already here," he said. Zira's glowing marks brightened. The lights in the hall flickered for a second. Everyone turned to look at them. From that day, nothing would be the same again. A strange connection. The space station floated quietly above a pale blue planet. Stars blinked around it like cold eyes. Inside the station, life continued. Machines hummed, aliens worked, and people passed by each other without noticing the small things. But Jason noticed. After what happened with Zira, his mind wasn't the same. Her memory, the fire, the fear, the scream, it still echoed in his head. He hadn't told anyone. He didn't want to. It felt private, like a piece of her soul had slipped into his. He tried to act normal, went to work, fixed broken wires, smiled at his supervisor, but something inside him had changed. And Zira, she was avoiding him now. Every day he looked for her. In the food hall, the garden dome, the library. But she wasn't there. Finally, after 3 days, he found her in the station's old music chamber, a place no one visited anymore. The room was silent, dusty, and full of strange instruments from many planets. Zira was sitting by a glass piano, pressing the keys gently. The notes sounded like soft rain. Jason stood quietly, watching her. "I thought you were gone," he said at last. Zira didn't look up. "I thought about it," she said. He walked closer. "Why are you hiding?" She stopped playing. "Because I made a mistake. You touched me. You saw my pain. You heard the voice." Jason sat next to her. "It wasn't a mistake. I wanted to understand you. And I'm not afraid." She finally looked at him. Her glowing eyes seemed tired, like they had seen too much. "You don't understand, Jason," she said. "It's not just fear. It's danger. You felt the connection. Our minds touched. That's forbidden. My kind, we were trained to avoid bonding with outsiders. It was always dangerous. But with you, it happened naturally." Jason tilted his head. "Why is it dangerous?" Zira hesitated, then took a deep breath. "Because when two minds connect, they share more than just thoughts. They share feelings, pain, memories, even powers. And I have something inside me. Something old. Something strong. If it goes into you, it might break you." Jason stared at her. "But what if it doesn't?" Zira gave a small, bitter smile. "Then maybe you were meant for me." They sat in silence for a moment. Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed across the station. The lights turned red for a second, then blue. A soft, robotic voice said, "Energy surge detected in Sector 9. Possible system malfunction." Jason jumped up. "That's close to the old reactor." Without thinking, he grabbed Zira's hand and pulled her with him. "Wait," she said. "You don't know what's there." "I don't care," he shouted. "If something's wrong, we have to help." They ran through the empty hallways, turned corners, and finally reached a small control room. Inside, sparks flew from a broken panel. Smoke filled the air. A young alien engineer lay unconscious on the floor. Jason rushed in. "Help me move him." Zira stayed frozen at the door. "Jason, the energy here, it's reacting to me." Jason looked up. "What do you mean?" She stepped inside slowly. The lights flickered again. Her glowing marks started to shine brighter. "The reactor is not just broken," she whispered. "It's speaking. It senses me." Jason helped the engineer up and dragged him outside the room. Then he turned to Zira. "What do we do?" Zira closed her eyes. For a moment, everything went still. Then her hands moved gently above the broken panel. The sparks calmed. The hum of the machines softened. The smoke faded. Jason watched in awe. "You're fixing it, with your mind." Zira opened her eyes. "Not just with my mind, with the bond. You gave me focus. I can hear the systems now. They listen to me. Jason felt a chill run down his back. How is that even possible? Zira looked scared again. Because this was not supposed to happen. Not without a mate. Not without someone who accepts me fully. Jason. This connection is growing. Too fast. Too strong. Just then, his vision blurred. His knees gave out. He collapsed. Jason. Zira ran to him. His breathing was rough. His skin was pale. She placed her hands on his face. I told you. This might hurt you. Jason's voice was weak. It's okay. I'd rather feel pain than leave you alone. Tears fell from Zira's eyes. Her glowing marks spread over her arms like vines. She pressed her forehead to his and whispered in an ancient tongue. A soft light covered them both. Jason's heart slowed, then returned to normal. He opened his eyes. What just happened? He asked. Zira looked at him with wonder. You accepted the bond. Your body is changing. You're not just human anymore. Jason sat up, confused but calm. What does that mean? It means, she said slowly, you are now connected to me. Forever. Secrets of the Orphan. The space station returned to normal. Lights stopped flickering. The reactor was safe again. People thought it was just a small power issue. But Jason knew better. Something had changed, not just in the machines, but inside him. He felt it when he touched the wall, when he drank water, when he heard people talking from far away. It was like his senses were sharper, brighter. His thoughts moved faster, and sometimes he heard a whisper in his head, not his own voice, but Zira's. Zira tried to stay calm too, but she couldn't hide her glowing marks anymore. They were getting stronger, brighter. Her eyes sparkled even in darkness. The connection between her and Jason had awakened something old inside her, something she had never fully understood. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He kept seeing flashes, Zira as a child, crying, her people burning, ships flying, a tall figure standing beside her, whispering, "Run, hide, you are the last." He sat up in bed, sweating. This isn't just a bond, he said to himself. It's a message. He got dressed and quietly left his room. He followed the path his dreams had shown him, deep into the lower levels of the station, places no one visited anymore, places forgotten by time. After walking for 20 minutes, he found it. A sealed door covered in dust and alien writing. The lights above it were dead, but when Jason touched the door, it glowed, just for a moment. And then it opened. Inside was a small, dark room. Cold air hit his face. In the center stood a black metal pillar. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Jason stepped closer. Suddenly, a blue light shot out from the pillar. A hologram appeared. A woman with glowing eyes and long silver hair. She looked like Zira, but older. If you are seeing this, the hologram said, then the hair has awakened. Jason's breath caught in his throat. You are now bonded with her, the hologram continued. This is not by accident. It is fate. Long ago, we hid her powers to protect the galaxy. But if they return, so will our enemies. Jason stepped back. What enemies? The woman looked directly at him, like she could see into his soul. You must protect her. She holds the last light of our people. But know this, if her full power awakens without control, she can destroy worlds. The room went dark. Jason stood there in silence, heart pounding. Zira wasn't just special. She was royal, chosen, and dangerous. Meanwhile, Zira woke up with a sharp pain in her chest. She gasped for air. Her marks were glowing red now, not blue. She clutched her heart. Jason, she whispered. Something was wrong. She could feel him. He was in danger. She followed the bond. Her legs moved fast, heart racing. She didn't know where he was, but her body did. Down in the old tunnels, she found him standing alone, shaking. He turned when he heard her. Zira, he said, I saw her. Your mother. She left a message. She said, "You're the heir." Zira froze. You saw her? Jason nodded. You're not just the last. You're the future. They hid you so you'd be safe. But now they're coming for you. Zira stepped forward, her voice shaking. Jason, I didn't want you to know. Why? He asked. Because if they find out we're bonded, they'll kill you. Jason frowned. Let them try. Zira shook her head. You don't understand. The bond makes you like me. You're changing. You'll be hunted too. Jason reached out, touched her cheek. I don't care. I'm with you now. Suddenly, a loud voice echoed through the tunnel. Step away from the girl. Zira and Jason turned quickly. 5 armored guards stood behind them. Their suits had the mark of the Galactic Council, a silver sun with a black circle inside it. The lead guard spoke again. She is under arrest. She has broken the code of energy transfer. You, human, are to be taken for testing. Jason stepped in front of Zira. She didn't break anything. She saved the station. Silence, the guard said. Move, or we will remove you. Zira's eyes turned white. Her voice echoed like thunder. Touch him, and I will burn this place down. The guards raised their weapons. Jason shouted, Run. But Zira didn't move. Instead, she raised her hands. The lights shattered. Wind swirled inside the tunnel. The ground shook. The guards fired, but the shots bounced off an invisible shield around her. Jason grabbed her hand. Don't kill them, he said softly. Zira lowered her arms. Her marks dimmed. The guards fell back, afraid. One of them whispered, She's awakened. Jason pulled her into the shadows, and they ran. They escaped into the station's forgotten chambers. Jason sat down, breathing hard. That was close. Zira sat beside him. Her hands were shaking. They'll never stop now, she said. They know who I am. Jason nodded. Then we have to find out everything. About your past. About this power. Zira looked into his eyes. If we do this, there's no turning back. Jason took her hand. I wasn't planning to. She smiled. Sad, but stronger now. Then I'll show you where it all began. The forbidden bond. The stars outside the space station burned quietly, unaware that something powerful was awakening inside. Zira and Jason didn't sleep that night. They hid inside an old cargo bay. Dark, cold, and forgotten by everyone else. But it was safe, for now. Zira sat on the floor, eyes glowing faintly in the shadows. Her body was tired, but her mind couldn't rest. The bond with Jason had grown stronger. She could feel every heartbeat, every thought. It scared her. Jason watched her closely. He was still trying to understand everything. Why do they hate you so much? He finally asked. Zira looked up slowly. Because I was born different. She touched the mark on her arm. It shimmered like a galaxy trapped in her skin. My people used to be rulers. We had power, real power. Energy from the stars, light from ancient systems. But we became too strong. The other races feared us. They called us greedy, dangerous, so they made rules to control us. Jason leaned in. What kind of rules? Zira's voice turned quiet. We were not allowed to love, not allowed to bond, especially not with outsiders. They said our emotions could trigger energy waves, destroy cities if uncontrolled. So they forced us to stay apart. Cold, empty. Jason was silent. Zira looked into his eyes. But you touched me. You gave me warmth. And now the bond is real. Jason smiled gently. Then maybe their rules were wrong. Zira wanted to believe him. But deep down, she was scared. She remembered stories of old, stories of a forbidden bond that once destroyed a moon. In another part of the station, the Galactic Council had gathered. Leaders from many species stood around a large table. Holograms floated in the air, showing Zira's face and Jason's. "She has awakened," said a deep voice. "And worse, she is bonded." A tall alien with silver skin shook his head. "This cannot continue. If her emotions rise too high, the energy could wipe out the entire system." A human representative asked, "Then what do we do?" The leader replied coldly, "We separate them. We erase the human, and we contain the girl." Back in the cargo bay, Jason touched Zira's hand. "I want to help you, but I don't know how." Zira closed her eyes. "You already are, but if we want to survive, we need answers." She stood slowly. "There's a place, deep inside the station, a hidden room from the time before the council. My mother told me about it in a dream. It's where the first bond happened. Maybe it can help us." Jason nodded. "Let's go." They moved quickly through the dark halls. Zira led the way, following her instincts. As they walked, the station around them seemed to shift. Lights flickered. Machines hummed louder. It was like the station could feel their presence. Finally, they reached a wall made of black metal. Zira placed her hand on it. Nothing happened at first. Then, the wall melted into light. Behind it was a staircase, going down into silence. They walked down slowly. The air grew colder, older. Finally, they reached a wide chamber glowing with soft blue light. Symbols covered the walls, symbols that pulsed with life. In the center stood a floating orb. Zira stepped toward it. The orb lit up. Jason stayed back, unsure. Zira looked at him. "This is it, the place of the first bond." Jason asked, "What does that mean?" Zira touched the orb. A hologram appeared. It showed two beings. One looked like her, the other like an early human. They stood hand in hand. A light connected them. Then came images of power, mountains shaking, oceans rising. Then silence, death. Zira whispered, "This was the price of their love. Too much energy, no control." Jason looked scared. "And if we're the same?" Zira turned to him. "Then we must learn to control it. Together." Jason stepped forward. "I trust you." She smiled softly. "Then give me your hand." They touched. The orb exploded in light. Energy swirled around them. Their feet lifted off the ground. The symbols on the wall lit up one by one. Zira's voice echoed. "I feel everything." Jason whispered, "So do I." The light wrapped around them like a blanket. Then, suddenly, it all stopped. They landed gently on the floor. The chamber was silent. Zira looked around. "It worked. We're balanced now." Jason blinked. "I feel calm." But the calm didn't last. A loud alarm echoed through the station. "Security breach. Unauthorized energy surge detected." Zira grabbed Jason's arm. "They found us." Outside the chamber, soldiers ran through the halls. Their helmets glowed red. The leader held a weapon designed to drain energy. "They're inside the old bond chamber," he growled. "Bring them back, or burn the place down." Jason and Zira ran back up the stairs, hearts racing. But as they reached the top, they were blocked. Dozens of guards surrounded them. "Stay where you are," shouted the leader. Zira stood in front of Jason. "You can't take him," she said. "He's human." The leader replied, "He doesn't belong to you." Zira's voice turned cold. "He's mine, and I'm his. The bond is complete." Jason stepped beside her. "I chose her. You can't change that." The guards raised their weapons. Zira whispered, "Close your eyes." Jason obeyed. The next second, the entire hallway lit up with blue fire. But it didn't burn. It moved like water. Gentle. Soft. The guards dropped their weapons. One of them whispered, "She's not a threat." Another said, "She's beautiful." The leader shouted, "Hold your ground." But no one listened. Zira held Jason's hand and walked forward. The guards stepped aside. No one dared stop them. They'd reached the upper decks. Jason looked at her. What just happened? Zira breathed deeply. We didn't fight. We bonded. With everyone. Jason blinked. You mean? Zira smiled. Yes, we're not just bonded to each other anymore. We're bonded to the hearts of those who once hated us. Jason whispered. That changes everything. Zira looked up at the stars. No, she said. It begins everything. War and the human heart. The stars looked calm, but something dark was moving toward them. In deep space, beyond the edge of known systems, a black ship glided like a ghost. It didn't shine. It didn't blink. It made no sound. But it carried death. Inside the ship stood a tall creature in black armor. Its eyes glowed red. Around its neck was a broken piece of blue crystal, the symbol of Zira's people. The creature's voice echoed in the cold air. The hair has awakened. The bond is complete. A prophecy begins. Prepare to strike. Back on the space station, Zira and Jason sat inside the quiet garden dome. Green plants, tall trees, and soft waterfalls surrounded them. It was one of the few peaceful places left. Zira rested her head on Jason's shoulder. Do you think they'll leave us alone now? She asked softly. Jason shook his head. No, that was just the council. The real danger is still coming. Zira looked up. You feel it too. He nodded, like something is watching, waiting. Zira closed her eyes. It's him, the hunter. He was the one who destroyed my people. My mother tried to stop him, but she failed. He's the reason they made the bond forbidden. Because once it's complete, he comes. Jason stared at her. Then we have to stop him. Zira looked afraid. Jason, you're not a warrior. I don't need to be, he said. I'm your bond. That means I stand with you, no matter what. Zira smiled sadly. Even if it kills you. Jason held her hand. Even then, suddenly, the dome's emergency alarm went off. Warning. Unknown vessel approaching. All citizens report to safe zones. Level 5 threat detected. Zira stood up quickly. He's here. Jason helped her to her feet. Let's go. They ran through the station. Lights turned red. Walls closed. Guards shouted. Panic spread like fire. The black ship appeared outside the window, huge, silent, and terrifying. It moved like a shadow across the stars. A voice came through the station speakers. Deliver the hair, or be destroyed. Zira and Jason stopped near the main control room. Council members were arguing. We can't fight that thing, one shouted. She's the reason it's here, another cried. Zira stepped forward. Then let me speak to him. They turned to her, shocked. Jason said, she's not the enemy. She's the only one who can stop this. The council leader looked at them. Go, but if you fail, we will launch everything we have. Zira and Jason nodded. They entered the communication room. A giant screen lit up. The face of the hunter appeared. Half flesh, half metal. Eyes like burning stars. Zira, he said, you have grown. Zira's voice was steady. I'm not afraid of you. The hunter laughed. You should be. I killed your mother. I burned your planet. And now, I will erase your bond. Jason stepped beside her. You'll have to go through me. The hunter leaned closer. You're just a human. Weak. Soft. Do you really think love will save you? Jason stared back. No, but I think it will destroy you. The hunter paused. Then he said, so be it. The ship fired. A beam of dark energy hit the station's shield. The walls shook. Lights went out. Screams echoed. The war had begun. Zira and Jason ran to the defense corps. It was a large, circular room filled with weapons, drones, and shield controls. We have to protect the heart of the station, Jason said. If they destroy the core, everything ends. Zira placed her hands on the control panel. Her glowing marks lit up. The station's shields grew stronger. Guns moved into position. Jason shouted into the comms, "All fighters, move to defense lines." Outside, hundreds of small ships launched. The black ship responded with swarms of dark drones. The sky turned into fire. Inside, Jason and Zira fought together, her power guiding the systems, his mind controlling the flow. But then the core lights dimmed. A whisper entered their minds. "You cannot stop fate." Jason fell to his knees. Blood came from his nose. "Jason," Zira cried. He held his chest. "He's inside my mind." Zira screamed. Her energy burst into the room, slamming against the walls. The machine sparked. The screen shattered. She held Jason tightly. "Stay with me, please," he whispered. "I'm still here, just weak." Zira stood. Her voice thundered. "Then I'll finish this." She walked to the main port bay. The doors opened. She stepped into space, alone. No suit, no shield, just light. The hunter appeared, floating in front of her. "You come to die," he said. Zira shook her head. "I come to end this." The stars bent around her. She raised her hand. A beam of pure light shot forward. The hunter blocked it with dark energy. The clash created a wave that pushed nearby ships away. They fought in silence, light against shadow, power against fear. Zira pushed harder. Her marks glowed white-hot. The hunter laughed. "You're strong, but not enough." Zira whispered, "I'm not alone." Behind her, Jason appeared, in a small fighter pod, glowing with Zira's energy. He crashed it straight into the hunter's body. The explosion lit up the sky. Silence. Then, Jason floated, eyes closed. Zira caught him, holding him close. "Jason, open your eyes, please." He didn't move. She pressed her forehead to his. Tears fell. Then, slowly, Jason gasped. He opened his eyes. "You came," he said weakly. Zira smiled through her tears. "Always." They returned to the station. The black ship was gone. The sky was quiet again. People gathered. No one spoke. Then one child clapped. Others followed. Soon, the whole station cheered. Zira and Jason stood together, hand in hand. No longer hunted, now honored. The truth about the curse. The war was over. The hunter was gone. The black ship had vanished into dust. The space station still stood, damaged, but alive. People cheered. Children laughed. Flags of peace were raised. But Zira did not smile, because Jason was changing. He had been brave. He had saved everyone. He had bonded with her fully. But now something inside him was breaking, or becoming something else. He sat in the medical chamber, his hands shaking. His eyes glowed faintly, like Zira's. Blue lines ran across his skin, energy veins, they called them. And they were spreading fast. "I feel hot and cold at the same time," he whispered. Zira held his hand. "It's the bond. It's growing faster than your human body can handle." Jason looked at her. "Will I die?" Zira's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know." Jason tried to laugh, but it sounded tired. "You always said the bond was dangerous." Zira looked away. "That's why they called it a curse, not because it brought death, but because it brought change." Jason whispered, "Then tell me everything." Zira stood before the council later that day. Her voice was calm, but her heart was shaking. "I need access to the vault of memory," she said. The council leader raised an eyebrow. "That vault was sealed 100 years ago." "I know," Zira said. "My mother's mind showed it to me. She said the truth was hidden there. The truth about the bond, about the curse." The council hesitated. Then finally, they agreed. She was taken to a deep underground level, below the roots of the station, where no one walked anymore. There, in a circular chamber, stood a single silver door. She placed her hand on it. The door read her energy, then slowly opened. Inside were hundreds of glowing memory crystals. She picked up one marked with her family crest. When she touched it, the room disappeared. Zira found herself standing inside a vision, a past memory. She saw her mother, young, strong, glowing with pride. Beside her was a man, a human. Zira gasped. This is the first bond. The man and her mother were smiling, laughing, holding hands. Then the vision turned dark. Soldiers came. The council came. They took the man away. Her mother screamed. Her energy burst, burning everything. The memory voice echoed. The curse was not the bond. The curse was fear. The council feared the power of two hearts united, so they made love illegal. Zira stepped back, heart pounding. She finally understood. The curse was never real. It was a lie. A way to control her people, to keep them from joining with others, to stop them from becoming something more. She returned to Jason. He was weaker now, his body shaking. But his eyes were still full of love. I saw them, she said, my mother and her human bond. They were happy. Until the council took him. Jason smiled weakly. So it wasn't the bond that killed him. Zira shook her head. No, it was heartbreak. The energy went wild because of pain, not love. Jason reached out. Then, there's hope for me. Zira paused. There's a ritual, she whispered, but it's dangerous. Jason chuckled. Everything with you is dangerous. She knelt beside him. If we complete it, you won't just survive. You'll become like me, half human, half energy. Jason blinked. You mean, I'll never be normal again? Zira nodded. But you'll live. Jason looked at her. Then what are we waiting for? They returned to the hidden bond chamber. The floating orb had changed. It now pulsed with both blue and gold. Zira placed Jason's hand in hers. We must speak the vow, she said. Jason nodded. Together, they said, I give my heart, my light, my breath. I bind my soul to yours until the last star fades. In joy or pain, in life or change, we are one. The chamber exploded with light. Jason screamed, not in pain, but in power. His body lifted off the ground. Energy swirled around him. His veins glowed gold. His eyes turned bright white. Zira watched, her own body glowing in response. Then silence. Jason fell. Zira caught him. Jason, she whispered. He opened his eyes. I'm still me, he said, but I feel everything. Zira smiled through tears. Then the bond is perfect. Outside, the people gathered once again. This time, not to fight, but to honor. Zira and Jason stood before the council, not as prisoners, but as leaders. The council speaker stepped forward. You have done what no one thought possible. You have broken the curse by proving it was a lie. Zira spoke clearly. We didn't break anything. We simply loved. And love was the key. Jason added, let no law stop hearts from finding each other again. The people cheered. From that day on, the rule was changed. The bond was no longer forbidden. It was celebrated. That night, Zira and Jason stood alone at the top of the observatory. They looked at the stars together. So, what now? Jason asked. Zira smiled. Now, we build a new future. Jason took her hand. Together. Zira nodded. Forever. A new future begins. The galaxy felt quiet. Too quiet. After the great battle with the hunter and the breaking of the curse, many believed peace had truly arrived. The bond between Zira and Jason had not only saved the station, it had changed the laws of the Galactic Council itself. Alien leaders now looked at humans differently, not as weak, but as equal, maybe even essential. And Zira, once feared as a cursed orphan, was now praised as a heir of peace, a bridge between two worlds. But far beyond the stars, in a cold part of space, no one had visited in centuries, a single satellite blinked alive. A dusty machine, long forgotten. It received a message. The heir has succeeded. The bond is complete. Activate the second program. Inside that machine, something began to move. Meanwhile, life on the station had transformed. A new academy opened, named after Zira's mother. It welcomed alien and human children. There they learned about energy, bonds, love, and truth. They played. They studied. They weren't afraid anymore. Zira and Jason often visited the classrooms. Children smiled when they entered. Some of them even had tiny glowing marks on their arms, proof that the next generation had already begun to mix. Jason sat on the bench one day, watching a child levitate a small toy. "You're getting good at that," he said. The little girl beamed. "Ms. Zira says it's because I believe in my heart." Jason laughed. "She's right." Zira stood nearby, watching with love in her eyes. "These children, they are our real future." Jason nodded. Not war, not power, just understanding. But not everything was perfect. Jason had been having dreams again. Strange ones. He saw a second moon, a hidden world, a locked door with a symbol, a circle inside a star. And a voice kept whispering. The bond was never the end. It was only the key. He didn't tell Zira at first. He didn't want to worry her. But one day, while walking through the forest dome, she touched his arm. "You're hiding something." Jason sighed. "I don't know what it means. Just dreams." Zira's eyes grew serious. "The bond is connected to many things. We opened one door. Maybe others are opening too." That night, they went to the station's central data tower. With the council's permission, they accessed old star maps, secret ones from before the wars. Jason pointed to a system far away. "This one. I saw it in my sleep." Zira touched the screen. Her marks glowed for a moment. The data unlocked. A planet appeared. Unknown, unnamed. No visits, no landings. Just one note. Origin site. Energy core beta. Access denied. Zira looked at Jason. "We have to go." Their ship was small but fast. A gift from the council. Painted silver and blue, it bore a new name across its hull. The Bondlight. As they flew toward the hidden planet, Jason couldn't stop thinking. Why now? Why this place? And what would they find? Zira held his hand. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." He smiled. Always. When they reached the planet, it looked quiet, cold, empty. No cities, no lights. Just mountains of black glass, fields of silver dust, and one giant tower in the middle, ancient and cracked. They landed and walked toward the tower. The ground felt strange beneath their boots, like it remembered them. The tower doors opened on their own. Inside, they found walls covered in markings, just like Zira's. Energy pulsed through the air. Jason felt it in his bones. In the center stood another memory orb, larger than the one in the bond chamber. Zira touched it. A vision appeared. It showed her planet, before the war. Millions of her people, bonded in peace, standing side by side with humans. Jason gasped. "That's Earth." Zira was shocked. "We knew each other before the war." The memory continued. A council of leaders, both alien and human, stood around a crystal device. One of them said, "We built this together, the core of peace, but if one side forgets, the balance will fall." Then, war, death, silence. The vision ended. Zira stepped back, tears in her eyes. "They didn't just erase my past. They erased your past too." Jason whispered, "We were one people, and someone broke us apart." The ground shook. The orb pulsed again. And then a final message played. If the bond is ever restored, then the second program will begin. Reconnection, restoration, a test of trust between two bloods. Only the bonded pair may activate it. Zira and Jason exchanged a look. Without a word, they walked to the platform. Together, they placed their hands on two glowing symbols. A flash of light. The tower lit up. Signals spread through space, quiet, peaceful, and full of hope. It wasn't a weapon. It was a call. A call for unity. A map formed in the air, dozens of other forgotten planets, each marked with the same bond symbol. Jason's heart beat faster. These are all lost homes. Zira nodded. Lost stories. Lost people. Jason smiled. Then we have work to do. Back on the station, as the message spread, people began to feel it. Not in their ears, but in their hearts. Something had started. A second journey. Not of war, but of remembering. Of healing. Zira and Jason stood on top of the tower, holding hands, staring into the stars. Zira said softly, "We were always meant to find each other." Jason looked at her. "We're not just bonded anymore." She smiled. "We're leaders." He kissed her forehead. "And this is just the beginning."